A very hearty good morning to the students and faculty members of GIT College, our eminent speakers and team Altruistic. Today, I, Aprajita, on behalf of Altruistic Infotech, will be holding the webinar on Salesforce Fusion between academy and industry. Before we start the session, I would request all the students to please mute themselves. Thank you. Before we start the session, I would request all the students to mute themselves. We'll be sharing a Google Form link in the chat box. It's basically an admission inquiry form and also the details of Altruistic Infotech. And please fill the form. Okay. So the agenda for today is that we'll be having a discussion with 4 of our eminent speakers. And firstly, we'll have Ms. Pritha Dubey, who's a success coach and a leadership coach from the industry. Secondly, we'll have Mr. Prithviraj Pandav. He's an industry leader and an expert in Salesforce for the past 2 decades. Thirdly, we'll be having Mridang Chakrabarti, who has recently transitioned from college to corporate and will be joining us. And fourthly, we'll have Vinita Nigam, who is from Altruistic Infotech team and will be explaining the program that we have. Last but not the least, we'll be having a question answer session so that the students can interact with the leaders who are present here and gain some insight from them. But for now, I would request you to drop all the questions in the chat box and we'll take it up from there at the Q&A session. Now, firstly, we have Pritha ma'am with us. Then we have Mr. Prithviraj Pandav, then Mridang Chakrabarti, and then Ms. Vinita Nigam. So let us start with the fireside chat with Ms. Pritha Dubey. Ma'am is an experienced sales coach, a leadership coach, and a success coach, and has been in the industry for a long time, and is vouched as one of the greatest women leaders of our time. I hope all the lady students can get inspiration from ma'am and do well in their corporate career. Ma'am. Pritha ma'am?
Yes. Hi. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning, ma'am. Sorry for the little delay, but yes. So ma'am, a very warm welcome. And we are so honored to have you here today. We all know that you're a leadership coach, a sales coach, and a success coach, and at that, a very accomplished woman leader. How did the journey start, especially from college to corporate, and how has it been for you?
The journey from college to corporate is like it is for any person who is for the first time getting into the corporate world, feeling a little anxious about, how I am going to survive this corporate world and what is going to be new for me, because everything is new. So to understand that and to prepare yourself for an uncertain world, nobody actually is quite prepared, because no matter how much we would have seen our parents in the corporate world or friends and family in the corporate world, till the time we don't experience it ourselves, we are really not prepared. So the journey has been with a lot of mistakes that I did, but what I always recommend is never shy away from committing a mistake, because each mistake has a lot of learning imbibed in it. And so so commit a lot of mistakes and learn from the mistakes. That is how I grew. And the second thing that I would say is that find yourself a mentor, because in the corporate world, it is very important if you have someone who you can trust to guide you. So find yourself a mentor and never shy away from committing a mistake. So I think these are the two things that I picked up, and these two things really helped me in my success. So wherever I am today, it is not because of some luck, but it is because I did mistakes, but I did not allow the mistakes to get the worst of me. Rather, I learned from every mistake that I made. I had mentors across all the corporate that I worked. I had mentors, and I took a lot of guidance. I never shied away from asking for help and guidance. So these are the two things that made me the success.
Right, as they rightfully say, there is no stupid questions. Whenever you have a doubt, you should definitely ask them and not shy away.
Sure.
Amazing answer, ma'am. I hope all the lady students are listening and taking notes, as well as the male students, because this is something which we can apply in our corporate and student life daily. Secondly, ma'am, right now we're going through a very unprecedented and difficult time. Things are changing, new ways of working are coming up. Many things have gone virtual through online media. What is your advice to the students that want to take a virtual learning program, to their benefits or rather limitations?
I don't know what could be the limitations for any kind of learning program, whether you do it physically in a classroom or you do it virtually. It is totally dependent on the learner and the learner's interest and eagerness to grow themselves. So if you are interested in your own success, then know one thing, that
Right.
across you, wherever you are, even if you're stepping out of your house, there is something or the other that you can pick up, some new thing that you can pick up, some new thing you can learn. So it is all about being curious.
Right.
If you are curious, you will be able to learn, whether it is from a classroom, whether it is from a virtual platform, whether it is through some books that you are reading, whether it is through a webinar like this that you are attending, or whether it is an article that you read, or it is on social media that you spend a lot of time on. You can actually learn from anywhere. So just be curious. Just be curious. There are no limitations to learning ever. The limitation is all in the mind. If you think that there are limitations, there will be limitations. But if you think that there is no limitation for me when it comes to my own learning and my own growth and my own success, then there will never be.
Of course, the sky is the limit always. Technically meaning there is no limit to what you can achieve on it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, ma'am, there's a growing demand in the industry, right? So we see a huge demand and supply gaps, be it any profession. So what would be your advice for the current generation of students, who want to enter the corporate, and how should they prepare to be more employable in the industry?
See, employability, if we talk about employability, then anyone who is looking at hiring somebody from the college, one need to understand that what is it about me that can impress that recruiter, that hiring person, and something that will make me stand apart or stand out from the crowd. And when we are talking about, so therefore, what we say is do a lot of research. Each one of us have a dream job or a dream company that we want to work with. You are working or you are studying in a certain domain. Without doing any research and blindly just getting into something that has come your way without thinking much, will take your success story, it will move your success story a bit slowly. If you really want a lot of fast growth happening with your success story, then find out about that industry that you want to get into. Find out what kind of skills do they prefer. Evaluate whether you have those skills in you or not. And then learn. If you do not have, pick them up, develop them. If you already have, hone them. Make those skills better so that when the recruiter comes to your college for a placement, no matter what kind of questions they ask, they should know that you are a step ahead. Present yourself in a way that makes your overall personality very, very charismatic. So work on your personal branding as well, and do a lot of research. Never ever go for an interview without doing any research and just having the knowledge of your own function. That doesn't help. Having a bird's eye view on what's happening in that industry, in the global space, what kind of skills are being hired, where is the shortage, which skills are more in demand, but there is a shortage in terms of supply, and can I therefore train myself on it or develop myself on it, and then present myself. That helps me stand out. So do a lot of research. Don't just like that enter a interview room.
No. You can always have luck, but you actually have to work for that luck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Ma'am, we already know that you're an accomplished success coach and you have a lot of exposure to the industry and the corporate world. What type of talent are the corporate leaders looking for in our students?
What kind of?
Talent. Or
Talent.
maybe what kind of, KRIs or KPIs are they actually looking for in students? Maybe the skills or maybe some technical point that they should have that makes them better than the rest.
Understand one thing, that a corporate is all right if there is a certain functional skill missing in you. They are fine with it because they feel that, okay, you don't know one aspect, one functional skill, a technical knowledge. They know that they can train you on that. Something that the corporates always know that I can't train a person is on their attitude.
Right.
So the biggest thing that you need to have is a positive attitude, an attitude that says I can face risk, attitude that says that, I am ready to accept my mistakes. You have an attitude that says that I know where my gaps are, where is it that and do I therefore know how to pick up from my previous place and get better than yesterday. So it's all about the attitude. You will find during an interview a lot of questions that your recruiter will ask, which will be very attitude-based questions, like what have been your strengths? What have been some of your failures? They don't want to exactly know what your strengths or your failures are. What they are basically trying to figure out is, do you have an attitude to become success in life, to work despite all kinds of challenges?
Right. Exactly. Failure is the stepping stone to success and not the end. Finally, ma'am, it's a personal question that I have for you. You are such an inspiring leader. What keeps you motivated every day? Because being in the corporate, you encounter different kinds of people. Some have a temperament, some are nice, some are mean. So how do you get motivated every day to do what you love?
That is the answer. You have already given the answer, because you do what you love. If you do what you love, or if you love what you do, you will always be motivated. So I am in a profession that I love. I chose this profession. I shifted from some other profession to this profession, and I am deeply and madly in love with this profession. And because I am madly in love with this profession and the work that I do, every day I wake up with a spring in my feet. I look forward to starting the next day because I get to meet new people. I am like today, I am meeting so many students, and I hope that I'm able to inspire a few of them to do good in their life, to become to write their own success story. So what
Right.
motivates me is that only. So no matter what you do, I'll take an example. If everybody of here would have seen a movie called Lakshya, I think it was Hrithik Roshan's movie Lakshya.
Right, Lakshya.
Now there was a dialogue that um, even if you become a lawnmower, become the best
Right.
lawnmower. You know,
Right,
even
right.
if you have to become a carpenter, become the best carpenter. Whatever you do, become the best in it. And that is what will keep you motivated. Always keep saying yourself that I am going to be better than my yesterday. And that is how you will keep staying motivated to only do good. If you are very, very happy with whosoever you are today, then you will stay here only. There will never be a growth. So always make yourself, work on yourself, because you are always, you are till the time you die, you are going to stay a work in progress. So work on yourself and get better every day.
Rightly said, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your insights. Now, I would like the other speakers also to take some time to interact with the students, and we'll get back to you, ma'am, with the Q&A session. All right. Thank you so much.
Sure. I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we move on to our next guest, Mr. Prithviraj Pandu. He is an industry leader and an expert in Salesforce and CRM, and has been working in the industry for the past 2 decades. Sir, now the platform is yours.
Hey, thank you, Aparajita, for introducing me. So I can actually really feel that I am in my college days. So close to 20 years back, I was also studying in Bhubaneswar, not probably in GIET, but I was studying in CET Bhubaneswar, and I really can feel that emotion that I am really talking to my colleagues. So it's more like I'm studying in the college back again, right? But I am also privileged to speak out and then share my experience, right? I have passed out from college close to 20 years back. Okay, and now I am still working in IT. A lot of people think that the career in IT is short span and all that, but you still see me working. Probably
Right.
I'm fit as well. That you guys can see that after 20 years you can be fit.
Definitely, sir.
But at the same time, you need to earn enough as well, right? So I also see some of the questions which has really come in the chat window, that people are asking, okay, if we are not technical, can we still build our career? Yes, I think this session is just for that. I'll share my experience, how Salesforce and CRM has really evolved, and then how they are really changing the landscape of all you students. You are really privileged to be in 2021 onwards, because there is enormous career that is going to be there for you guys. And then you might have seen many of these articles in newspaper that, okay, that was yesterday, 500 crore-patis were there in India. How they become? Because there is a company called Freshworks, which is also on CRM based, and then it came up with their IPO in NYSE and then got listed, and 500 crore-patis are there in India. So it's just an addition of crore-patis. So like a similar opportunity is also waiting for you guys. It is just that you just need to get familiarized with CRM and Salesforce. I think the sky is the limit. So I would say, like, I, in my last 20 years, probably initially I was not knowing about Salesforce, but last 6 years I've been with Salesforce, and I am really getting a lot of financial, benefit, and also satisfaction. As Pita ma'am was saying, are you really loving the job, what you're doing? Yes, and then every day you are resolving a lot of our clients' problems using Salesforce and the CRM solution. So, it's a privilege to talk to you guys and answer if any questions if you have going forward from the session. So maybe we can go to the next slide just to talk specific on CRM. Okay, probably the font is a little bit small, but I can just still specify what it is. So as the CRM stands for, it's called Customer Relationship Management, right? Okay, so this is a way you interact with your customers. now that your customers are being very diverse, right? A lot of these customers are coming online, a lot of these customers are coming offline, right? You really need a digital platform, and that platform, if it is device agnostic, if that platform is platform agnostic, and you don't really have to spend any money on day one, right? And then you can still serve your customer. So that's the platform we are talking about. So CRM is about satisfying your customer needs. But what sort of a CRM software are you going to use? So the software should really have a centralized database, first of all, so that all your sales related data, all your customer related data is at one place. There should be a lot of automation in there, so that a lot of data entry, those are being done. It could automatically come and sit in the database, so that the next steps for those can also carry forward. It should also have a inbuilt feature, so that it will remind you on a periodic basis. Just to give an example, right? You get SMS from Airtel or Vodafone or from Jio for every month that you have to pay your bill. So there is obviously some software which is there, which is running, executing every day in, day out, finding out whose bills are pending, and then let them remind them by sending an email or sending an SMS. Organize the contact data. So basically a lot of information about our people are there. So we need to really organize it, keep it most up to date, so that the most recent details about the contacts are also found. And then not only that, now we also have to scale these, leveraging this data, we have to scale in our sales revenues as well. Because at the end, all these companies who are using the CRM software, they're trying to ensure that the data that they're capturing and the workflows that we're building in the CRM software is enabling them to increase sales and then revenue for them as well. And then last but not the least, we really wanted to manage all the software, but very minimalistic administration that would be required. Like for example, in a bank, right? You have so many bank servers and all that has to be managed. But with CRM and then with Salesforce sort of a thing, you don't need to manage any of those infrastructure anymore. Everything is on cloud. You just have to go and operate the bank business as usual. Moving forward, so maybe we'll go to the CRM various softwares which is there in the marketplace now, and then what people could learn. Maybe Praita, go to the next slide. So now what you're seeing on the left is called Gartner Magic Quadrant. Okay, you can also go and search for Gartner's Magic Quadrant for CRM. And you would see that Salesforce is the market leader. Okay, so how Salesforce is also came up. The founders of Salesforce were also there in Oracle, but they really felt that most of these applications that you're building for Oracle is actually standalone. Standalone means you really have to buy the servers, you have to buy the infrastructure, you have to buy the app server, data server, everything, right? What if everything is on the cloud, and then on day one people can come and start using, right? So just to give a little bit background about this, like we have some of these acronyms which you might have heard. Is called infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, right? Like Amazon or AWS or Azure, they are providing that sort of a service and in place of infrastructure as a service or platform as a service. But there is a void in terms of software as a service. Salesforce really comes in and sits just out there. So on day one you come, there is a ready-made application which is already there and it is working. Now to suit your customer's need, you just have to change certain things, right? You might have to add certain fields, you might have to add a new table, here it is called object, things like that, right? And then you can see what are the top CRM products, which is also competing with Salesforce. The other one is Pega CRM, Microsoft Dynamics CRM, and Oracle Civil CRM. Oracle Civil CRM, obviously it is still standalone, and you really have to have those physical servers and all that, really buy and take it. But whereas Salesforce, Pega, all these are market leaders in this. Salesforce to a greater extent is easy to learn as well. Everyone can go internet and learn about Salesforce. But at the same time, if you really need to master, you really need to get trained from the the market leaders, just so that you are ready for the market in the upcoming next 5 to 10 years. And then you really wanted to stay ahead in the race compared to your peers. This is the technology to learn. So you can really go later after this session, search for Magic Quadrant CRM. You would find out what we are showing. You are able to see that Salesforce is a market leader out there. Moving to the next slide, Aparajita.
Yeah.
Sure. So now if you really see, where Salesforce really has the major market share, you can see the slide on the left, they are the leaders among all the competitors, right? So if you can really see which are the various industries Salesforce are leveraged, right? To give some simple examples, like you see a lot of these pharmaceutical companies, medical representatives, earlier days, what they used to hold, you will see, my father was a doctor, he's no more anymore, but I used to see, when a lot of these medical representatives comes to him, they'll come with a flyer, and then they'll flip those flyers one by one. And then in a day, at least 10 medical representatives used to come. Now, what Salesforce has really done, any of these companies who have leveraged Salesforce, they have all the flyer contents into an iPad and built an application on top of that. Now they can not only just track which are the doctors they have traveled, but also they could also track the conversations what they're having with the doctor in the iPad, and also take some action out of those. Like, for example, the doctor had XYZ question. They don't need to write it down. It is all recorded, or there are fields where you can just type it and keep it. And later on, when you have internet, you sync it. And then there are actions which is sent out to the people in the contact center who will interact with the doctor, or if needed, they'll interact with the manufacturer and ensure that some of these flaws or some of these questions, identified by the doctor is answered. So this is just one, I say use case, but use case is a new word for you guys. It's called a requirement for a pharmaceutical, industry. Similarly, Salesforce serves the needs of almost every sort of industry. Like you talk about financial services cloud. So financial services cloud is one of the solutions from Salesforce, which is resolving the problems of financial companies like banks, insurance companies. They are also using Salesforce. We're talking about healthcare and life sciences. It's a predominant. Life sciences means like all the pharmaceutical manufacturing companies, and healthcare means most of our hospitals. They are using also Salesforce because a lot of these patients are coming, they're admitting into the hospitals. There are a lot of, after the medication is done or after the hospitalization is done, there are a lot of things that needs to be taken care afterwards. So it would feel a lot better to the patients if someone is really following up with them after they are hospitalized, right? So Salesforce has those workflows built in, so that on day one, if an hospital wants to implement, they can go and implement on Salesforce, and then from day two, they can start serving the customers. So with all that story that I have really told to you, so you might say, okay, what is there for me? Okay, I'm not a company owner, right? I'm not really anyone who is an industry leader or something. So as a fourth year student who is getting passed out from college, I am going to the market by next year, or I'm already in the market. What is there for me to do, right? Okay, maybe the next slide is the answer for you guys. So if you really see, Salesforce has enormous various clouds, right? Starting from Sales Cloud, which I talked about, traveling the sales journey, right? Every other organization has a sales team. Every sales team needs to track all their, leads, which means like, probable customers journey. And then with Salesforce, if they're implementing Salesforce Sales Cloud, they're able to, track the journey pretty easily. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, right? If you really see, a lot of emails comes to you every day, right? This marketing, that marketing, many companies are sending these emails. Do you think someone is physically sending those emails? No one is sending this physically, right? All these are already configured. So basically, as I said, your contact informations are there in probably Salesforce. There is already, something like Marketing Cloud, which is implemented, which sends out every day, like let's send out emails to 100 people. Let's send out emails to 1,000 people. Let's send out SMS to 100 people. So you can actually configure these journeys in Marketing Cloud and send out those emails automatically. Similarly, Service Cloud, and a lot of our industries are having, services also. Like, for example, you buy an LG product or you buy a Samsung product. There are a lot of post-service related issues that you reach out, right? Using Salesforce Service Cloud, the services of providing the services to these various customers can be also eased out. Community Cloud is a very good feature because right now, everywhere we go, right, we start giving feedback. We go to Facebook, we go to Twitter, we start giving feedback. What if we can have a more focused forum? Like, for example, for GIET, we would have a focused forum for sharing the feedback of these sessions, right? So Salesforce Community Cloud really helps in all the community people come and share their feedbacks and then take some realistic action items from those. right? So this is another great feature, and across the world, Community Cloud is being used a lot. You will be, you will be really satisfied. Like in the US, they have used Salesforce Community Cloud to implement vaccine management systems in US. So they have used Salesforce out there as well. I will not deep dive more into Salesforce Commerce Cloud and Analytics Cloud. This is also there to serve individual, use cases, as it says. Commerce Cloud is for, e-commerce related applications. On day one, you can have an e-commerce application built right on Salesforce. And similarly, as I was saying about Health Cloud, Health Cloud is also related to serving the needs of your payer. Payer means like your insurance company serving the needs of your provider, which are your hospitals. Everyone can come to this platform and then start leveraging this platform. And from day two, your application is ready, you start serving the customer. So what Salesforce has really come in and did is solve these various companies' need. If a company wants to start something tomorrow, they were not able to do that. But Salesforce has said, you don't need to worry. I have everything built out on day one for you on cloud. You just come in and tell how many number of users are going to use, and that many licenses you buy, you pay us monthly and start using the platform. Now, I will talk about what is there for you guys, right? So I just delayed a little bit, but I'm still going to tell you what is there for you guys for Salesforce. Okay, just dive into these numbers, what is written in USD, and start converting in your mind what they stands for. $95,000 per year. How much it is? 70 lakhs. 125,000 per year. How much it is per year? I don't know, maybe more than 1 crore. 150,000 per year. How much it is in Indian rupees? Probably close to 2 crores. Do you really believe that you guys are really passing out and then you have an ability to earn these sort of salaries in the next 4 to 5 years or 10 years to come? So sky is the limit. If you can really see 4.2 million jobs that is going to be created by the year 2024. So you are just there, you are just there entering into the job market, which is really hot. But at the same time, you really need to know the niche or what is really prevalent in the marketplace. And then you need to learn it and bridge that gap. Because as this program or this session's intention was, how can you bridge the gap between our academics and industry? Right? As you could see, industry needs Sales Cloud people, industry needs Service Cloud people, industry need Commerce Cloud people, industry needs Marketing Cloud people. But maybe you guys are not knowing it. But if you know these things, probably you could also earn these salaries. However, you can always say that, okay, if I wanted to be a Salesforce administrator or a developer, maybe these salaries that you're talking about is in US. But now with the virtual world, US and India are no more, irrelevant at all. Okay. In India, people are also getting salaries in the tune of 30 lakhs a year, 40 lakhs per year. And some of you might also know, you are actually studying in Bhubaneswar. Many of our Bhubaneswar students who have graduated have also got, last year only I've seen from my college in CET, one girl got 43 lakhs per year, right? Maybe one odd scenarios like that. But why don't you get that opportunity to learn yourself and then get that sort of a salary as well? Because at the end, all these companies were actually taking you, they are taking you based on your skills, your, aptitude, right? Whether, as Pritha ma'am said, never say no to your learning. You keep on learning. Even if I'm 20 years in the industry, I am also learning every day, right? So if you have that right learning attitude right now, okay, and then you start learning on Salesforce with the right sort of partners, I think sky is the limit, as I was saying at the start. And there is a great career. A lot of people might say, I'm not technical in nature, I am probably more functional, I may not do coding. But in Salesforce, that is a good part, because this is being a package software on cloud. You can play a role of an administrator. You can play a role of a business analyst, where you understand the business and then you can elaborate this business details to your developers and testers, and they are going to develop the application, test it. There is a very great career that's going to really come in Salesforce developers, like people who are good in coding, they really wanted to dive into coding. Salesforce has enormous potential where you are, because as I said, most of these companies were using Salesforce. The Salesforce may have the basic core structure, they still have to tune it to some extent. That's what the developers are going to do. They would be tuning this application to suit the need of the relevant customers, and they will build this application, and at the end, they are also going to get very great salaries as well. Salesforce technical architect, architect as hot in market. You would be surprised, there are architects in India, they get up to 80 to 90 lakhs per year as well. Okay, so forget the 20s, 30s, or 5 or 10. So if you really, how can you be an architect? There are a lot of certifications you have to do, and a lot of on-the-job work you have to do. Once you have done that, you are ready for becoming an architect. I hope I could answer part of your thing, like what is there for me from CRM or Salesforce. You have a great career ahead of you in the next 2 to 3 years and beyond. So it is the time that you just need to jump on to this and then take an opportunity to learn Salesforce from the right partners. And then, as I said, sky is the limit, and you could achieve what your father and mother would not have even imagined. Like sometimes I think we think how much salary I can earn in IT, right? Maybe I should go to a public sector company, or I should just do a teaching job and all that. But here in IT, sky is the limit. If you are learning to the greatest, I think you can earn enough, right? So that's what I can only say at this point of time. So Aparajita, maybe we can go to the next slide. Okay. So thanks a lot, Aparajita, for giving me an opportunity and come and speak about it and guide our students from Bhubaneswar. So it's a great honor for me to be part of Bhubaneswar students again. So I miss Bhubaneswar a lot, but I definitely see all our students coming out of GIET would have a great future ahead. If they start learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The pleasure is all ours.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And of course, change is the only constant, and upskilling is the way to go. You can never be stagnant in your preparation for the world, and you have to keep on learning every day. I hope the students will really have gained some insight from your valuable experience. And we'll get back to you, sir, with the Q&A session if and when the students have a question. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sumita ma'am, and
thank you very much giving telling all the students that since all the students must be students. Any question you can just inbox them.
So you can chat it in the chat window.
Yeah.
And then we'll answer it in the Q&A.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Sumita ma'am. Also, now we'll be moving on to Mrigank, our next guest. Mrigank is an MTech from IIT Kanpur and has recently transitioned from the college to the corporate. And I think he can give like real life situation that is currently happening because the pandemic had been going on and his course was also going on and he was at home, and how has he transitioned from there and whether or not he faced any issues. Hi Mrigank, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, hi Aparajita. Hi, good afternoon all. So am I visible and am I audible properly?
Yeah, you're both visible and audible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Hi.
Yeah, hi. So we're so happy to have you here. I'm sure the students are going to gain a lot of insight. So we know that you did your MTech from IIT Kanpur in computer science, and you recently.
I cannot hear you, Aparajita.
Can you hear me now?
Sorry, no output here. I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So we know that you've done your MTech from a very prestigious college, that is IIT Kanpur, and your specialization has with computer science, and you recently started in your career in the corporate world. So when did you start preparing yourself, like your journey from college to corporate?
Okay, so yeah, I recently joined into the workforce in the IT industry, and as far as my preparations are concerned, in both during my MTech and BTech, I started preparing from a pre-final years, which will be like the first year in MTech, by the end of first year in MTech, and by the end of third year in BTech.
Okay, And so you spent like most of your MTech days, back home, since all the colleges and all the institutions were closed. So how did you adjust to, online mode of learning? And I'm sure you must have, missed your college campus. So do you think it brought you some benefits or no?
Yeah, so it's really sad that I had to spend the final year of my MTech studying from home. But it actually happened like this, like all my courseworks were done and dusted by the end of first year. So all that I was left to do back at home was to do my research and publish papers and stuff like that, thesis work. So yeah, that way I did not have to face the complete wrath of the pandemic as far as my coursework is concerned. And yeah, that's it. And for working from home, the best part of it is you enjoy the freedom of staying close to your loved ones, that we would not have to think about them. So that's one thought less to worry about. And then the rest I focused on my thesis.
Yeah, of course, the home cooked meals, the laundry done and everything, you already get it done. So you just have to focus on your study.
Yeah.
And of course, your loved ones are there, so you can spend more time with them.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now that you've joined the industry, so do you think the early preparation, helped you in understand and doing the job that you're doing right now better? Or, your coursework was different and the job that you're doing right now is different?
Yeah, so I prepared for my placement and stuff quite early. So like the main dedicated preparation starts maybe in the pre-final year, but then it's a long process. So I used to do open source coding. I used to take part in CodeChef long challenges and stuff like that. So they keep on preparing you. And yeah, I would say that the skills that I gained from doing those things is very relevant in the job that I do. And yeah, I make use of them day in, day out.
That's really lovely, because what we really hear is a lot of times the teachers will say that what you're learning in your college course is not something that you have to apply in your job that you do.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Great
Personally,
insight.
I do not feel an iota like that. I mean, my experience has been a little different. Yeah.
Right. So finally, I have a personal question for you. Besides the study that you do and the job that you're working on, what do you love to do to, keep yourself motivated, fresh, and focused in life?
Yeah, so on that front, the things are pretty dynamic. I do not have any one thing to focus on. Like recently, I've been playing chess for 7-8 months and I'm loving it. And apart from that, I enjoy web series, TV series, and as everyone present here will be knowing, the Quota Factory 2 is releasing today. Money Heist has already released season 5. I enjoy stuff like this. Yeah.
That's really nice. And you're just like a regular student. A lot of people think that people from prestigious institutes just keep on studying the whole day and, they do not have any hobbies or like enjoyment activities. But
Not
here
true,
you're
not true.
proving them wrong. Great interacting with you, Mrigant. And, I am sure the students will learn from your experience. You've actually given like actual insights from your college and not just vague answers. So thank you, and have a great day. And maybe we'll have a question for you as well by the end of the seminar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Mrigant. And that was Mrigant from IIT Kanpur. The 2021 batch passed out recently, and I hope all the students must have gained some insight from his experience. We now have Ms. Vinita Nigam, who's the program lead for Altruistic Infotech. And she'll be explaining you the program that we have today and how it works and how it can be beneficial for you. Vinita ma'am, the stage is now yours.
Thanks, Aprajita. Hi, everyone. This is Vinita Nigam presenting Altruistic Infotech as our program lead. It is great to be here and thanks for this opportunity. I was listening to the speakers, got a lot of inspiring words from Pritha. Mr. Pandab also spoke about CRM. Mriganka shared his experience, spoke about his journey from college to corporate. Really very nice. I think there is a lot of relevance in today's topic with what Altruistic is doing. And let me explain what exactly Altruistic is all about. So Altruistic is headquartered in Hyderabad, and we are very much focused into technology areas. Mentored by a group of experts. If you see, our expertise is in Salesforce, which is again our CRM system, like Pandab explained. In terms of surface offerings, we are focusing on training design for the people like you, students. Other than training and job assistance, we also have a presence in the areas of staffing solutions, application development, and maintenance. And also we do provide consulting services. So more than anything, the training part is very relevant to all of you, in which students will be trained on computer science basics. Like somebody asked if someone is not from computer science background, and Salesforce and related technology areas. So you'll be trained in all of these. As part of the developer and specialist training programs, students will go through industry recognized Salesforce certification program. Our experts expert faculties will support you, and throughout the journey, they'll be there for your support. As part of developer training, students will opt either for Salesforce development certifications or administrator certifications. So moving ahead to the next slide, Prajita, which explains you about our course. So we are training students in a 6 months duration course, which is divided into 2 levels. First level is developer, which is of 4 months, and next is for 2 months, and that's specialization. Eligibility criteria for the course is going to be that you have to be an engineering graduate or a postgraduate, BCA or MCA graduate, or a BSc, MSc in computer science, PCM, that is physics, chemistry, mathematics, or statistics. So before getting into the course, students, you also need to get through an admission test. So this all is covered under a fee structure of 36,000. We also offer scholarship to deserving students, And after successful completion of 6 months training program, students will either be absorbed by us, Altruistic, or they'll be getting an opportunity to work in real-time projects with certain stipend. So we'll be offering you some stipend as well. So during the course, after first level, students will have to clear Altruistic internal assessment along with PD1 certification, that is platform developer 1 certification, or Salesforce admin certification. As part of specialization, students will be selected. So you'll have to select any out of 4, like we have offerings of MuleSoft, Velocity, Salesforce Service Cloud Plus, and Health Cloud. So out of these, you can choose or opt anyone. As we discussed in previous slide, that we'll be providing you stipend after successful completion of the training program. You'll either be absorbed by Altruistic, or you'll be getting to a chance to work in real-time projects. So that's about Altruistic Infotech and how our training program can help you out, and how can you gain the technology knowledge and be employable and deployable. So we are here to take you to the path of success. And thank you once again, everyone. Thank you, students, and hope this was helpful for you. With that, I hand over to Aparajita, and she'll guide you in the next step. Thank you. Thank you, Aparajita.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope the students understood what the program is all about. For further information, you can always go to our website. We have our phone number as well, and we have our email ID as well. And any questions that you have, we can take them there. Now we proceed to the Q&A session. So here are the questions. This question is from Miss Prachi Prachuria for Pritha ma'am. Ma'am, if someone doesn't have technical knowledge, then what is the process or criteria for recruiters to recruit them?
So it depends on what is it you are applying for. So if you are applying for, say, to an IT company in the analyst position, or you're applying as a developer, and then you don't have the technical know-how, then obviously the recruiter is not going to be very happy with you as a suitable candidate. So some idea definitely is required. They are not expecting you to have absolute in-depth knowledge on those technical aspects, but having no knowledge at all would not help you through that recruitment. So apply to those places where you have some knowledge, or like you've just heard, develop these skills like Salesforce, which is very much in demand right now in the market. Learn this and apply to those companies who need Salesforce people, specialists, because it's important to come across as a specialist. And those specialists can demand premium packages, because there could be a lot of people who may say that I know a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But those who are specialists, corporates prefer them. So pick up a skill and become a specialist in that, and then apply to those companies that are hiring those specialists. That will improve your chances of getting hired.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your insight. I think the next question now is from Mr. Pandu. Sir, are Salesforce developers in demand in the market right now?
Absolutely, and that's what I actually, pinged another link as well. So there are like close to 64 billion USD of Salesforce work that is going to be there. So I don't even want to convert into Indian rupees. Probably it is going to go beyond, or it is going to be, a good amount of our GDP of India. 64 billion is USD is a really, really great amount of work that is going to be there in Salesforce. So in terms of demand, you don't need to really worry. You just say Salesforce right now in the market, people are ready to pay you, immediate salaries right away. Okay, it is just about learning Salesforce from the right partners like Altruistic and others, or Altruistic like companies, and doing the certification, because those two are, because if someone really, you say Salesforce, okay, but people will ask, what is the proof of it? Now you say I learned it from Altruistic, but what is the industry benchmark? The industry benchmark is certification. So you have to learn from the right partners and get certified. Then, as I said, you have a lot of opportunities. And then the link I sent it to you. You can also search for keywords in Google, Salesforce job opportunities in India. Right. You get everything in Google. So I don't need to be your Google for you.
So there's another question for you. What technologies should be used to develop Salesforce?
Sure. So I think I'll give a background, right? As I said, I started my career close to 20 years back, right? When I started, I started learning from Fortran, Basic, and obviously in CET also we were not learning. I was an electrical engineer, so I also hardly knew anything in Salesforce that point in time, or programming to any extent at that point in time. I started off with mainframes at that point in time, and then slowly in the last 6 years, I learned Salesforce. So basically, for people like me, I have to unlearn what I learned in mainframe and then learn Salesforce. So for me, it was a natural progression, because Salesforce has a great training site, okay, very great training site, free. You can practice free. Okay, everything is free. It is just that you need to just take the help of partners like Altruistic, so that you're learning in the right direction. When you're stuck, you are asking them the right questions so that they're answering you, and then giving you the right sort of a training program over a period of time. That is point number one. So basically, anyone who is a non-techie people also can learn Salesforce, because it's a package software. So on day one, you can still do a lot of configuration and not learn any language. You can still do Salesforce. Second, there were certain careers in Salesforce related to Salesforce development and Salesforce technical architect. If you really wanted to travel that journey, you have to learn technically. And then people from who has learned Java or JavaScript, they are really going to be getting a lot of success. But the language that they're using in Salesforce is called Apex, but which is more or less similar to Java. And the UI that we develop in Salesforce, now it is called Lightning Web Component, LWC, is predominantly similar to JavaScript, and a lot of the libraries from JavaScript are also used. So answer is anyone can learn. Salesforce. You don't really need to have a technical background. But if you are familiar with Java and JavaScript, just jump onto it. You are going to be a winner for sure.
Basically, you can start anytime that you want. You just need to have a science background to an extent so that you have the required capabilities required. Other than that, great. That'll be all for our question answer session. Thank you so much, Pritha ma'am. Thank you so much, Pandap sir. Thank you so much, Mrigank, for giving us your valuable time and input and helping out the students. It was a great session from your end. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For the students, we have shared a Google form in the chat box. I would request all of you to please fill up the form and submit it to us. It would really help us a lot. And special thanks to Mr. Ramnaran and Sumita Pari ma'am for letting us interact with your students and giving us this opportunity to do this session with them. With that, we'll be ending the session.
Yeah, I think Smita ma'am has something to say. Yeah. Yes,
no, sir. It is over, no, sir. We just, sir, you need the database I have with me with all my students' mail ID. I can share it with you also. Or you need the Google form to be filled up.
If they can fill the Google form, well and good. If not, whatever you're saying, we can take.
Yeah, if not, I have the data. We can share with you all the data with the students.
Sure.
Huh?
And then just like I know, Sumita ma'am, some of the students would not have been able to attend. So I think Prajita can also share a recording of the session for students who could not make it for some reason. I think it will be a great opportunity for each of our students to know about it and then get the right job in the marketplace. So, and we could, that's a great opportunity for each of you to learn, earn, and make our country proud. So please do take that opportunity.
Yeah, I will do that. Huh? I will set the recording with all the students.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, anything?
No, if the students can fill the form by themselves, it's okay. But whatever you send to us, that would be also great.
Yeah, I will be sending all.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
With this, we'll be ending this session. Thank you to all the students and everyone who joined with us. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yes.
Bye.
Have a good day, sir. Bye, sir.